Welcome back to Roslyn Court. Tonight we've got Luke Jackson. We've got live music here this evening. It's brilliant. We've got Luke Jackson from Canterbury, and he's going to be singing for us in a little while. We've got a screen between him and the technical team. We've got air extraction on the stage here, so we've got our own little micro air something or other. And we're going to have a good time this evening. We've got the raffle, as usual. If you want to take part in the raffle, please donate to Luke. All the money goes to Luke. And if you are in a situation that you can't or you don't want to, then if you contribute to the live chat, then you also will be entered in for the raffle. And tonight's prize is, there we go, Luke's CD, which is good, is the first prize, or maybe the second prize, who knows. And also, Who Gives a Crap toilet roll with your initial on, hopefully. I'll try and match your initial, because we've run out of emergency toilet rolls. It's come to that. Yeah. We've got Chris, John, Roger, Phil, and Sandra are the team. Sandra will be answering your live chat, but she's going to be Chris this evening for reasons that we really do not understand. Now, last week, I sang a song which sparked quite a lot of discussion, actually. It was a song that I used to sing to my kids when they were little to put them to sleep. And, of course, being them, they weren't watching. But one of them has asked that I sing another of the songs that I used to sing for them when I wanted them to go to sleep this evening. And so I'm going to do that. It needs a little bit of explanation because it's from near Newcastle, and it's in the vernacular, as it were. The chorus asks you to be quiet and listen to the story, because the singer is going to tell you a story, okay? And if you could join in at home, that would be lovely. It's quite simple, and I'll start off with the chorus, and then it's a story about a horrible serpent that was caught by Lord Lambton, who owned, it's a bit controversial because he owned the local coal mine, but we won't go into that side of it. And then he pushed off, and it was left to its own devices, okay? So we'll have to see what happens, right? Wish lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous bout the warm. One Sunday morn, young Lambton went a-fishing in the weir. He catched a fish upon his uke, he thought looked very queer. And what a kind of fish it was, young Lambton couldn't tell. But he couldn't be fecht to carry it yem, so he hoyed it doon a well. Wish lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous bout the warm. Now Lambton felt inclined to gan and fight in foreign wars. He joined a group of knights that cared for neither wounds nor scars. And off he went to Palestine, where strange things him befell, and very soon forgot about the cruel worm doon the well. Wished lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wished lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous bout the worm. The worm grew big and growed and growed and growed to an awful size, with geet big head and geet big gob and geet big goggly eyes. And when at neat it roamed about to pick up bits of news, it fell dry upon the road, it milked a dozen coos, the bugger. Wish lads had ya gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous bout the worm. This fearful worm would often feed on cows and lambs and sheeps, and swallow little bairns alive when they lay down to sleep. And when he'd eaten all he could, and he had had his fill, he crawled away and lapped his tail 10 times round Penshaw Hill. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous about the worm. Now news of this most fearful worm and its cruel gannons on soon crossed the seas, got to the ears of brave and bold Sir John. And home he came and catched the beast and cut it in 3 halves. And that soon stopped it, eating pigs and sheep and lambs and calves. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous bout the worm. So knew you know how all the folks on both sides of the weir lost lots of sheep, lost lots of sleep and lots of sheep, and lived in mortal fear. So let's have one for brave Sir John, who saved the bairns from harm. Saved coos and calves by making halves of the famous Lambton worm. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish the lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous bout the worm. I thank you. My dad used to sing that to us, whether we wanted him to or not. Okay, now we're going to pass on to Luke Jackson, who has a background in traditional folk and blues, and he's been playing since he was very young, and he now sings contemporary folk and Americana. We're going to have a really, really good evening with him. I can just sense it, and I've heard him practice as well. All right? So let's welcome him onto the stage. Luke Jackson!
Thank you. Set my heart on fire, keep me up at night, fighting my desires, trying to ease my troubled mind. It burns so bittersweet, hits me on the drive home. So I pull over to the side of the street, outside the house we used to own. I will know your love didn't break me, no, it still hasn't broke me yet. Yeah, your love drove me crazy. Gonna curse the day we met. I wish that I could put the bottle down, but why fight a feeling? The urge to follow you around and surface all the demons. I will know your love didn't break me, no, wish that I could put a lid on you. And the way you seem to put a lid on me. Maybe I could learn to let you be. Maybe you could get some sleep. I said that I wish that I could put a lid on you. The way you seem to put a lid on me. Maybe I could learn to let you be. And maybe you could get some sleep. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
There's somebody watching from Tel Aviv.
Really? Oh, fantastic. Well, good evening in Tel Aviv. Good evening from wherever else you are watching from your front rooms. It is a pleasure to be here. This is the first time I've left my house in months. So it is a great opportunity just to come along and share some songs. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening as well. My name is Luke Jackson. That was a song of mine. I was going to say a new song, but I think it's probably coming up around a year old now. But it feels new still because I haven't had the opportunity to play it live a whole lot. But that's called Curse the Day. And the CD that Morag showed just a second ago is a record of mine called Journals, which is my current studio CD, which was released at the end of 2019. And I spent a few months touring that around the place, and this here is a track taken from that. It's actually written about male depression and the ability to speak about it and be open about it, and things seem to be becoming more open, but still for some reason it seems to be a taboo. And I wanted to write this song just to be one small voice helping that kind of movement. So I thought I'd write this. I made sure I wrote it in a major key and to a relatively cheerful tune, as not to add to the problem, but to help. So this here is a song called Heavy. Fake smile, pour the wool over the eyes of those who care. Things are getting heavy tonight, tonight, tonight. Let them believe everything's fine, leave them unaware. Bury it deep, hide it if you can. Chasing the night, chasing every high, though it leaves you low. Things are getting heavy. You just let the days pass by. It's easier to hide than to feel alone. You bury deep, hide Is it pride that keeps us closed? Or the fear of looking weak? When really we don't know. It takes fearlessness to speak. Learn to dig it up. Face it if you can, and hold on to every helping hand. Learn to dig it up. Face it if you can. Hold on to every helping hand. 'Cause there really ain't no shame in feeling broken. Really ain't no shame in feeling a little broken. No, there really ain't no shame being a broken Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. Well, I'll play you guys a song hopefully a few of you will recognize. I grew up primarily on my dad's record collection, and that kind of dived into a whole array of genres, but more so the folk and blues and Americana. And of course I grew up on the wonderful Bob Dylan. And a lot of the time I would hear Bob Dylan songs performed and played by other artists and fall in love with them, and then later find out, of course, that it had been him that had written them. And this indeed is an example of that. I heard this sung by an incredible female singer-songwriter and just fell in love with it. Later found out that this was a Bob Dylan song and checked out his version along with many others, and in my opinion I think this is one of the most beautiful songs ever written. So this is Forever Young. May God love and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars, climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous. Stand upright and be strong, and may you stay. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung, and may you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay. Forever young. Thank you very much. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Trouble now. I'm in trouble now. It feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground, 'cause I'm in trouble now. Trouble now, I'm in trouble now. Feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground, 'cause I'm in trouble now. The sun came up and dried the morning dew. Like my luck, it dried up too. Seemed every good thing was just passing through, and I'm in trouble now. Trouble now, I'm in trouble now. Feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground, 'cause I'm in trouble now. I bought me a boat so I could sail away from where all of my trouble stays. But I'm sinking fast, it's safe to say I'm in trouble now. Trouble now, I'm in trouble now. Feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground, 'cause I'm in trouble now. This heavy load is getting hard to hold. Heart's on fire, but my body's cold. Didn't wanna believe what I've been told. I'm in trouble now. Trouble now, I'm in trouble now. It feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground, 'cause I'm in trouble now. Trouble now, trouble now. It feels like I'm in trouble now. Bury my head deep in the ground. 'cause I'm in trouble now. Thank you. Thanks very much. Well, like everyone, last year was a bit of a strange year, and it's continuing over to 2021 at the moment, but I have high hopes to have the opportunity to be back on the road and gig again and all of that kind of stuff. My fingers are indeed firmly crossed, but when we first went into lockdown back in March, which doesn't that seem mad, how quickly that's gone. Last year kind of flew by. I think it was not having any kind of milestones to the year kind of makes that happen with time, but it seemed like all my friends and people around me in lockdown suddenly became the most productive people known to mankind. And I would see through social media and things like that, they're doing all the like Joe Wicks workouts at like 9 a.m. in the morning, and I wasn't even out of bed at that point. So I felt like I was wasting away a little bit and had no purpose day to day without being on the road and touring. So I set myself a task. I said, I'm just going to write as much music as I possibly can, and if anything comes out and I manage to write any songs, then I shall record it and release it, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. It took a while at first, not a lot was happening, but after a while I wrote one song and then another, and then it just seemed like I had a lot to say. So I ended up recording an EP. It's a digital EP that we're going to release on the 29th of this month, actually. An EP called Of the Time, and they're just a collection of 7 songs of which I wrote throughout lockdown and throughout 2020. About the year itself and all of its madness, and as a collective, what we went through, but also my personal journey in songs as well. So I'll be playing you a few from that upcoming EP. You can find out all the information of that on my Facebook or my website, which is lukepauljackson.com. But this here is a song taken from that song of mine I wrote called Tiny Windows. Once I saw love standing sweetly on a hill. She was calling me up to her side, but the hill looked more a mountain that never seemed to end. Didn't think it was worth the climb. Used to let my days just run away from me. Let everything just slowly pass me by. It's so easy just to tell myself I've got nothing to lose. Just roll over and close my eyes. But every dawn brings in the morning. Every dusk brings down the sun. Everything between is just a game of tiny windows. So pull back the curtain. As a new day breaks, I feel green, I feel new, like someone lit a fire up under me. With my new lease of life, I'll come swinging out the gates, aiming for who I used to be. I was unaware of how good things could get. Never dreamed to reach so high. Oh, but if you don't buy the ticket or even turn up to the race, how the hell you gonna win the prize? When every dawn brings in the morning, every dusk brings down the sun. between is just a game of tiny windows. So pull back the curtain. Once I saw love standing right in front of me. His lady luck caught my eye. Now once upon a time I'd have just let her leave. Now I keep up by her side. 'Cause every dawn brings in the morning, every dusk brings down the sun, and everything between is just a game of tiny windows. So pull back the curtains. Everything between is just a game of tiny windows. So pull back the curtains. Life is just a game of tiny windows. So pull back the curtain. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lots of people sending love.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I send it back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and tuning in.
53 families watching us.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, I'm going to play you another song of my own. This is another one taken from the Journals record. I currently live in Canterbury, right in the heart of Canterbury, but I grew up and spent 21 years of my life living in a little village on the outskirts called Chartham. And there's a lot of history to this little village. Before I was born, Chartham used to be the grounds for an old psychiatric hospital. Anything within the village itself was either grounds for the hospital or accommodation for those working there. But it has long since closed down, and the majority has been knocked down and built upon. And there now stands a new estate where this hospital once was. It's where my parents first met many moons ago. I'll add they worked there. It sounds like a rather morbid way for a teenage boy to spend his afternoon, but I would walk my dog, and in order to get through to the meadows and the fields, you would have to walk through this old cemetery, and it was a cemetery where they would bury the people who were at this hospital. So it was disused, and a lot of the graves had kind of been forgotten about, and you'd never see people going to visit these graves. But I would walk through and often spend a bit of time kind of looking at these gravestones. They gave a bit of history to the village I was living in at the time, and they would have the names, the dates, a little bit about them. And they'd often have these black and white photos propped up against the stone. And there was one that always caught my eye. It read, "Here lays Eliza Holt." And my parents, having worked there, decided that they would do some research on some of the people that were buried there, and Eliza Holt was one of these people. We found out in her day, if you fell pregnant at an early age or out of wedlock, you would often be incarcerated into a place like this, and you would give birth, and you and your child would live out the rest of your days. And we think that's what happened with Eliza Holt. Anyway, years on, I mentioned now living in Canterbury, I moved out of the village, and it had been a long time since I'd gone back to that corner of the village, but I was catching up with a childhood friend of mine, and we was walking his dog. We found ourselves walking through that old cemetery, and it had been a long time since I'd caught up with him, so we was kind of chatting away, lost in each other's conversations, not paying any interest to our surroundings, until we realised that we was walking on uneven ground, and at that point we looked around and realised to our horror that we'd been casually strolling in and out of people's dug-up graves. So naturally, we sprinted for the exit and got out of there as quick as we could. And we're left thinking, well, why on earth would they be doing that? And it soon became clear that they were setting the foundations to build themselves a nice little cul-de-sac. And after that, I soon went away on a tour, and it had been a long time since I'd again returned to that part of the village, but I found myself driving past, and they'd put up the houses, making this nice little cul-de-sac, but not only that, they had moved people in already. So naturally, I was and still am convinced that every house down that nice little street is haunted. And I like the idea that Eliza Holt is singing the children their lullabies. And I thought, well, that's a good idea for a folk rock ballad. So I wrote this, Eliza Holt. Here she lay, Eliza Holt, frozen in a tomb. Generations dead before, till they run out of room. If they could offer up the truth, stories they could tell about how the chimes of freedom became the gates of hell. Late at night they took her there, as she began to show. Fed her well and kept her strong, as babe began to grow. But on the day they tended her, mopped her fevered brow, they'd wrench the infant from her arms, wrapped up in its gown. Here she lay, here she lay, here she lay, Eliza Holt, held down in the room. Screams ring down the corridors, they'll be over soon. When the laudanum hits her veins, count her down from 10. A cure to her hysteria is a little medicine. As night fell in, they all clocked out, bolted to the door. But a turnkey took a liking, so chose not to fasten hers. Up the tower she did climb, for the wardens did the rounds, and felt so free, lit through the air, dashed upon the ground. Here she lay, here she lay, here she lay. Life before her cost. Here she lay, before she breathed her last. Here she lay, that girl, she did her best. Here she lay, time for her to rest. Here she lay, here she lay, here she lay, here she lay. Here she lay, Eliza Holt, buried in a tomb, till the builders dug her up, her coffin they exhumed. What was once the cemetery, now the town hall's plan, to build them up a new estate and make use of this old land. All the houses they sold fast and at a healthy price, but if they knew the history, maybe they'd think twice and know why their little darlings are so restless through the night, as the searching soul of Eliza Holt sings their lullaby. Thank you. Thank you very much. So an artist that I grew up on, again from my old man's record collection, was the wonderful Richard Thompson. And I fell in love with his music at a very early age. The thing that always drew me to him and continues to do so is his storytelling. I've always been a real sucker for a story song, and in my opinion, Richard Thompson is indeed the master of doing so. I've covered a few of his songs in the past. I've covered his beautiful song called Bee's Wing, and one that doesn't seem to be so well known but is a stunning story song called Woods of Darnay. And I mentioned earlier about being productive during lockdown. And this here is a song of his that's one of my personal favourites, but I'd always avoided it over the years because it's a bit of a task on the old guitar. But I thought I'd set myself the task to learn this one. And got there eventually, and haven't really stopped playing this one since. So this is Vincent Black Lightning. Thank you very much. All right. Said Red Molly to James, that's a fine motorbike. How a girl could feel special on any such a like. Said James to Red Molly, my hat's off to you. It's a Vincent Black Lightning 1952. But he reached out a hand and he slipped her the keys. And he pulled her on behind down a box hill, laid her right. Said James to Red Molly, here's a ring for your right hand, but I'll tell you in earnest, I'm a dangerous man. For I fought with the law since I was 17. Oh, I've robbed many a man to get my Vincent machine. But now I'm 21 years, I might make 22. No, I don't mind dying, but for the love of you. And if fate should break my stride, then I'll give you my Vincent to ride. Come down, Red Molly, called Sergeant McCrae, for they've taken young James 8 for armed robbery. Shotgun blast hit his chest, nothing left inside. Come down, Red Molly, to his dying bedside. When she got to the hospital, there wasn't much left. He was running out of road, running out of breath. Oh, but he smiled to see her cry. Said, I'll give you my Vincent to write. Said James, in my opinion, there's nothing in this world beats a 52 Vincent and a red-headed girl. No Nortons, engines and Greaveses won't do. Ah, they don't have a soul like a Vincent 52. Well, he reached out a hand and he slipped her the keys. Said, I've got no further use for these. I see angels, aerials, leather and chrome, swooping down from heaven to carry me home. And he gave her one last kiss and died. And he gave her his Vincent to write. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll play you another song from this this upcoming EP. I am very fortunate to be able to do this in normal life, at least as a living, and spend my year touring around the place, up and down the UK and over in Europe, and been very fortunate to be doing tours of America the last few years, which has been absolutely fantastic. But of course it means living a very busy lifestyle and kind of being here, there and everywhere. So when we first were put into a lockdown and I found myself kind of going slightly insane with not really knowing what to do and kind of being in one place for a long amount of time, I realized that for many years I kind of just been chasing the next thing and not really focusing on the here and now. And last year and the start of this year has kind of made me learn, if anything, just to slow down a little bit and learn to love the little things, and I guess not to take so much for granted. So I wrote this song as a reminder, really, more than anything, to myself that when I'm rushing around and feel like there's a million things that need to be doing, just to kind of slow it down a little bit and maybe just simply be in that moment a little bit more. So this is a song I wrote called Blinding. I've lost sleep, ain't been sleeping. I've lost weight, ain't been eating. And I've lost all hope, not been hoping. But I envy anybody who can. So typical for me to be so cynical. Lost my shine along the way. There are days when I will curse up towards the sky. See, I'm jealous of the sun, 'cause that big old sun just always keeps on shining. I lost my voice, ain't been speaking. Lost my mind from overthinking. I wish that I could tear out all these thoughts, and I envy anybody who can. And it's so typical for me to be so cynical. Lost my spark along the way. And there are days when I will curse up towards the sky. See, I'm jealous of the sun, 'cause that big old sun just always keeps on shining. Tired of fighting, losing fight. Never knew that it was okay not to be feeling right all the time. Learned my lesson, though the hard way, to take things as they come and to cherish every day all the same. With a little change, it felt like shining. Watched the sun go down and finally accepted how nothing perfect lasts forever. Though I let some darkness in, I've learned to love the little things. 'Cause even the sun gets a little tired of being blinding. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I think we've got time for one more, yeah? Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so very, very much for tuning in this evening and joining me. I want to say a huge thank you to Morag for having me here in this beautiful, beautiful room and sharing these songs with you in this great setup. Big thank you to all the guys working behind the scenes, behind the cameras. It's been a real pleasure, a real joy to come and share some music with you guys. Again, my name is Luke Jackson. I'm going to play another song from this EP. This is almost the song I just played, but instead of morbid, I flipped it to positive and a bit tongue-in-cheek. So we'll leave on a high note. Again, thank you so, so much for tuning in this evening. I hope we can do this again soon. Take care. And this is Nothing But Time. 1, 2, 3. Well, lately I don't sleep. I lie in bed awake, wonder why the stars are so bright through the night. And if they were to fall, would it be a piece of grace, or would it burn out all the light? I used to be out on the road with everything to gain, chasing dreams and chasing miles. Now I sit here in a daze with my feet glued to the ground, and the peace, well, it drives me wild. But I've got time, so much time. I've got time, so much time. Most are running out of it, mine is flooding in. I got time, so much time. Well, maybe I'll paint the shed again, maybe I'll mow the lawn, find different ways to waste up all my days. I'll watch the kettle boil 100 different times in 100 different ways. Maybe I should find some work, help bring in the bread, but my ego and my drive say otherwise. 'Cause if they don't let me do what it is I live to do, then I'll spend my days inside, wasting time on my time, wasting time on my time. Why do I still find my patience wearing thin when I got time, so much time? Sit and think of things to help me get me out this mood. I'll tell myself that it won't always be this way. Soon they'll strap me to a stage, hand me a guitar, once again they'll let me play. But I got time, so much time. I got time, so much time. To wish for more of it, I'm wishing it away. I got time, so much time. I got time, so much time. I got time, so much time. Used to wish for more of it, wishing it away. I got time, so much time. Time, 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 time. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi. Okay. So, we now come to the raffle. That was just fantastic, Luke.
Thank you so much.
Can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the last hour.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Right. Would you like to pull the first name out of the box?
All right. We have Greg Harris.
Whoa. Right. Greg Harris.
Greg Harris. Yeah.
Greg, you won a CD. If you could messenger Morag Butler, then with your address, then I'll send it to you. And sorry? He's in Canterbury.
I have, yeah. I believe so. Okay, we have Tom Goodyear.
Tom Goodyear, you have won a toilet roll. Well done. Well done. You'll get a tea. Yeah. Could I have the thing so I remember? Brilliant. Now, next week is Burns. We're doing a Burns night, and we've got Hector Gilchrist will be joining us from Surrey, and we'll be putting on a proper Burns evening with lots of Scottish songs and a culinary note. You can get your haggis from Sainsbury's, but it's better if you get it from the butcher. And you have to put your turnip on about now for it to be ready for next week. So if you could just bear that in mind, then that'll help you with your evening. Also, could you prepare yourself with some whiskey, please, and not beer? Beer and haggis do not mix, because haggis is mainly made from barley and oatmeal. Oatmeal swells up. I don't know whether you've thought about how porridge works, but oatmeal does swell up, and you can actually create a bit of a fire hazard incident, and it's really, it spoils your evening, quite frankly, it does. It spoils, yeah. So that's going to be great, because Hector Gilchrist is the person to have for your Burns supper. He is so knowledgeable, and his voice is just so gorgeous. Yes. The following week, we've got John Watterson, who is watching. Hello, John, which is very exciting as well. Then we've got Fale coming on the 6th. We've had Fale Nioke, he's a local person here, and after that, Winter Wilson are going to be performing, but possibly not here, but we're working that out. And then the Lunar Tractors are coming here, which is great, on the 20th of February. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, team. Thank you, Chris, John, Roger, Phil, and Sandra, stroke Chris. But mainly, we have to say thank you, Luke, because it's just been marvellous. And that Vincent Black Lightning was just
thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you very
amazing. Much. Yeah, thank you very much. So I hope we'll see you next week. And till then, stay safe, and we'll remember to set your alarm and join us at 7 next Saturday night. Okay? Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.